Hello, I'm Ben.
Hello, I'm Jamie.
Hello, I'm Mark, and it's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate.
It's Tuesday night, it's 7:30. It's time for another episode of Through the Garden Gate. Let's get the boys in.
Hello, George.
Hi, Jamie.
You alright?
Hi, guys.
Have you had a good day?
Yeah.
Well done. Good lad, good lad.
Yeah.
Mark, you alright?
Yeah, I'm good. Well, ish.
It's actually working tonight.
It is working. Hi, Benjamin.
Hello.
Can you
You alright?
Not bad.
Hey?
Can you see anybody?
No.
No?
Can't see anybody.
We can
Yes.
see.
You can.
Yeah, we can see you.
100%. Promise you I can't.
Joking.
Even JJ? No.
Okay, you alright?
Promise you I can't see anybody.
Wow.
You're updating the app.
Sorry.
It didn't work.
It did work for a week.
1 week.
Even then, it doesn't work.
Oh dear, never mind. Hopefully he can see the guest when she comes on.
Fingers crossed.
That's the main thing. He doesn't need to see us, George, does he?
Mm.
I wouldn't mind seeing George. It's you two ugly kids.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, George? It's them. Don't need to see them, do we?
Right.
No.
JJ said, "What's in the bread bin? What bread bin? Oh, that bread bin. Oh, yeah.
It's just for that one.
It was for seeds.
But
Wow, that's a big seed tin.
Yeah.
Oh
Flooded and full of water over the winter.
dear. Oh dear me. What you got to say then, George?
yeah.
You been up to any gardening this week?
Yeah.
What did you do in the garden at the weekend?
At least digging up bricks.
Bricks. You been growing bricks?
Yeah. Digging them up because the fence has been took down, so we've got rid of the bricks as well. Me and my mum saw lots of worms, and I know we're getting in the way, so we were like, excuse me.
Worms are good. They can't get in the way.
Yeah.
We love worms.
Chop them in half.
No, you don't want to chop him in half.
That's
Which we were
not
using
good, is it?
weeds and
Yeah.
stuff.
That was the
Oh,
moving part of the veg garden, so we can sort it all out. So you were being helpful, weren't you?
Yeah.
You're gonna go to bed now.
Yeah, bye.
Hi.
Hey, George.
What are you talking to me? It's like, yeah, I am.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Give me some cushions. I'm gone.
I just nod off here.
Exactly that.
Oh, bloody hell. Has it been a hectic week, Ben?
Yeah, it's
Your
not throwing up.
Your last several weeks have been all hectic.
Yeah. I've been
You
busy.
sat in a box?
Say that again, mate.
Are you sat in a box?
Mate, I'm sat in less than a box this week. It's ridiculous.
I thought you'd be sat in that roots box.
No,
Yeah.
I got rid of that. That's literally. I've had to take all this out just to get in here.
Ah, dear.
This
Won't be
mental,
long.
man.
It won't be long. Surely you've had your last frostbite now, haven't you?
It's still getting pretty chilly at night, so there's like an air frost risk, but I just don't want to risk it with all this lot, really.
It's going to get really cold on Friday.
Yeah,
So
weekend is supposed to be cooler.
So I saw, Mark. Why was I tagged in that?
Because you didn't listen to my I warned you.
It might be getting cold, but to be fair, look what I put back out yesterday.
Hot tub.
Is that the hot tub?
Yeah. She's
That's the
back out.
best time, innit? When it's cold outside and nice and hot in the water. Bet it's lovely.
No, mate. It's a bit nippy running from the back door in me little shorties.
Oh no, not the. Oh dear. The
I got
body
my Baywatch
smokers.
red ones as well. Like Hasselhoff jumping out there.
David Hasselhoff. Well done. Look at him.
I
Mitch.
was old enough. I know I don't look it. I'm old enough.
Are you the rock version of David Hasselhoff or the original Hoff?
I'm the Pamela Henderson type.
Ooh, the original.
Yeah. So,
Not the Knight Rider one.
I love Knight Rider as well.
Knight Rider was awesome, wasn't
Who's put, do I have a talking car? No, I just have a wife that doesn't shut up in the passenger seat.
he? Same thing.
Oh, anyway.
Oh dear. Anyway, enough of Hasselhoff talk.
Yeah, get someone in so I can see someone.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at a black screen of myself.
Have you literally got, just take a screenshot of what you're seeing now then.
This is where Ben disappears.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then come back on
Brilliant.
it works.
Why
I've
is it-
screenshotted it so I can
oh,
show that.
Show us it later. Go on,
No.
Mark. Give it the big one.
So tonight's guest is a Garden Grand Ball award winner,
She is.
fabulous creator of floral masterpieces,
Mm.
the grower of portable garden, a member of the amazing Higgledy Garden team. She is flowery, bubbly, and super positive. Hello, it's Gemma.
Gemma. Where's Gemma?
Oh,
Where's
all the way round. It's my
Where?
empty bedroom.
Just as well there was no bras hanging over there or anything there,
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Is that better? Can you hear me now?
No.
It's like such a mess. I was like, it's so late. I can't
Oh.
see you guys now, though. How do I sort this out? Because the phone's facing the other way. Oh, the embarrassment.
What have you done? You spun the whole phone round.
I have, yeah, because I can't spin around for him. So I'm just like staring at the screen going like, hi. But
You
thank
get-
you for the lovely introduction. Oh, the embarrassment.
You're gonna.
Oh, well.
You'll have to cover the camera up and then spin it round and flick the camera over to yourself.
Yeah, well, I don't do it. Wait,
Go on,
let's see
go
if I
on,
can
do
do
it.
that.
Do it.
Right. Wait. There is a little tappy thing. But it's not. Oh, yay!
There
Okay,
you are.
there we go.
Oh, look
Everyone
at it.
ignore my messy bedroom. We all have one.
Of course we all have one. Definitely.
Hello, that's better. I can see you all. Thank you. for the lovely
Brilliant.
intro. That went very swimmingly on my behalf.
Brilliant. That was excellent. Sorry, that was so funny.
Oh God, I've got everything out as well. I was just looking. There wasn't a bra, but there is something that looks like a bra, but it's not a bra. Oh, how are you guys?
All right, not too bad. How are you, Gemma?
Good, plodding along. Very happy now the sunshine's finally out, albeit with interims of hail, but very happy.
Interims of hail and wind and rain, and then a day of sunshine, and it's all back again.
Exactly, but it is nice to have some moments. I was out there till I think like 8 the other day, and I was like, oh my God, it's light again till this time. Yes.
I know. Oh, it's ridiculous. It just, well, me anyway. It just gives me such a feeling. It's crazy that you can be out that time of night. Love it. Absolutely love it.
The best time of the day.
Oh, it
I think I get more
is.
between 6 and 8 than I do the rest of the day because you're like, I'm going.
Just chill.
Yeah.
I'm honestly so happy. It feels like summer's arrived. I know, obviously, not sunshine, but in terms of the light levels, it feels like it's gone dark light. And I was like, I was so tempted to be out in the garden. I thought my poor neighbours are out there. I won't do that to them.
Yeah, it's a massive lift, isn't it? After that dull, horrible, dark winter, and then all of a sudden, as soon as them clocks change, that gives you that hour, and then that's it. It's away, isn't it?
Happy days.
Yeah,
I feel like I aspire to be a wealthy lady who holidays away in the winter and comes back in the summer.
Don't we all? That would be amazing.
It would, the dream.
Yeah.
I want people to say, where do you winter? And I'm like, here.
Where would here be?
I don't know. Right now, it's either Sandbach or Crewe. It's not that exciting.
Oh, it would be lovely if we could do that. But no, we're stuck with her at home in the UK. Dark winters. Dark winters are alright. Sometimes nice. Get the fire on and sit around there.
It is. And truthfully, I must confess, I think I'm a bit of a weirdo. You know that time where everybody hates in January? You know, when it's like all the money's gone, all the time's gone, nobody wants to do anything. I love that period of time because it's like, I feel like I'm finally on top of things. I love socialising with people, but there's not too many social events that I can't keep up with, like seeing people. And it just feels like, yes, I can just focus and I can plan. And I become a happy little hermit then.
Yeah, that's January that we all say, it feels like it's about 3 months long, but it is still only 1 month. It's horrible.
Yeah, I love it. I'm like, keep it going. It's like it ends and I'm like, oh no, now it's going to snowball and I'm going to lose control again.
I feel January's the best.
Gemma, tell us about Colour Wheel Garden then.
Colour Wheel Garden. It started off, I started growing cut flowers at an allotment, loved it. And then I was meant to be working on a cruise ship because I'd studied acting. And I think I knew when I did my master's performance piece as acting makes me wet my plants that I think I was leaning in a bit more of a different direction. And so I got this job on this cruise ship, was very excited for it, and I thought, I can't be away from Jack for another 9 months after studying. And I thought, I'm actually going to see if I can get a gardening job. So they were really understanding, and I got in contact with, I was going to email 50 places or phone 50 places, and I thought, I got bored after 36. I was like, I'll leave the rest till tomorrow. But I didn't need to because Sue Beasley, who ran Bluebell Cottage Gardens, which has like 6 acres and an 1.5 acre garden as well, and amazing perennial nursery. She got in touch and she was like, I'll take you on. And bearing in mind, like before this point, I'd known a bit about gardening, but not a lot. I just felt thrilled. So I got a job as a gardener there, and then in that process, I expressed that I was excited to learn about growing cut flowers. And she said, do you want to use the land at the front of the nursery to grow and sell cut flowers for a year and a bit? And I was like, yes, please. So that's really where Colour Wheel was born. And because I'm kind of an obsessive creature that wants to do it all straight away, this is kind of why I've picked cut flowers. It's a way to kind of restrict myself. It's like only cut flowers for now, and then I'll move on to extras. But because you can get addicted to it all, but I wanted to grow every single colour. And then when I was there, I created Colour Wheel Cutting Garden. So literally it was like a slice of pizzas, lots of triangles, one dedicated to each triangle bed to each colour. But it was a hell of a leap to go from growing just a few daffodils, tulips and cosmos to growing even just 10 bouquets a week, because all of a sudden you're thinking of it as stem numbers. You're thinking, oh my gosh, okay, well, you want a minimum of 30, ideally 50 stems in a bouquet, which means you're looking at 300 to 500 stems minimum each week. And you start looking at your plants completely differently and thinking of it as production. So I enjoyed that and had a great time, but it was kind of like a dive in the deep end, a bit too far straight away for me. So when the time came for the land to come to an end, I thought, this is my opportunity to really, I loved it, don't get me wrong, it was amazing, but to actually grow one arrangement well a week for myself and make notes on it, what lasts well in water, what doesn't, because I was literally giving things away going, people would say, how long does it last? I was like, I don't know, good luck. And so it's nice now that I'm just doing something on a smaller scale. Well, I say smaller, like, the wreath behind me is massive, but it's stuff that I'm doing that's for me, and then I'll scale it up and take it from there. So it's come kind of full circle, but I've had so many great opportunities, and that's where it came from. And then I met Ben, Higgledy Garden, and now I'm creating a portable cutting garden, rescuing all my plants so that when we move, I can take them somewhere. And that's basically it.
Wow. That's so cool. Well, what you're doing with that.
Unbelievable.
Thank you.
When was all that then?
So it was, when did I graduate? It was in 2019 I graduated. 2020 was when I started working at Bluebell Cottage Gardens. Yeah. And then it was 2021 to 2022 that I did the Colour Wheel Garden. Or was it 2022? to 2023. It was definitely 2022. Whether it was the year before or the year after, I can't remember. I think it was 22 to 23. Yeah, because I would have worked 2020 to 2021 for Bluebell, and then 2022, 2023 for Bluebell, Higgledy Garden. And that was a little bit much that year. I was working for Higgledy Garden and Bluebell Cottage Gardens and growing and selling cut flowers and had an allotment, as well as the garden here, as well as obviously family and life. And I was like, I think I've spread myself too thin.
Sounds like it.
I did.
Wow.
I'm good at that.
So is this with no formal training at all?
Yeah, no. My training's in acting all the way, so I just acted like I knew what I was doing with flowers, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah, no, I mean, when I studied drama at university before my masters in London. There was a greenhouse on the campus, and I think that's really what ignited it. So me and my friends, we weren't friends at the time. We were just a group of students who met up for a broad bean growing session, which obviously was super easy. It was plug broad bean in, done. And it was, but we literally got the bug straight away. So we set up a sustainability and growth society. And then I was like, I spent like so much time on that campus in that greenhouse, happily growing aubergines and chilies, all the classic, started with the tomatoes and the veg and all of that. And then I was like, I want to do this full time. And so I was like, alongside my studies, working for a little garden centre that took me on. Although they were more interested in pet food than they were plants, but they were lovely. So, they were more like, how you have your bits and bobs in your garden centre, less about the plants. So I remember they were asking me once, why have you moved the ferns to the shady area? And I was like, I think they liked that. They were really nice people, but it's been nice, the journey. So there you go. That's my gardening history thus far.
Brilliant. Sounds good.
It's
you
good.
mentioned allotment a few times then.
Yes, I did I loved my allotment. And actually, weirdly, I've ended up more money and pet food. I know that one. That is.
Yeah, definitely.
They were smart people, really kind people. But yeah, the allotment was great. So that's where I started. And like I say, just grew a few daffodils, a few tulips, far too many cosmos. And I had that alongside. And weirdly enough, I've come full circle because I've got this portable cutting garden. I want to, moving cost wise, it's a bit expensive to move a crate of compost filled with annuals, which I can buy quite cheaply from seeds. So, but I've got so many annual seedlings because I've literally been sowing something every day in March and beyond. So I got in contact with my old allotment recently and I said, if there's anybody, who's struggling with their plot who could just do with a bit taking over so it gets made weed free for the year and then I leave it to them completely weed free but just with some annual flowers, let me know. And they got back straight away and they said there actually is somebody who would love it if you could take over a third of their plot. So that's what I'm in the process of doing. So it's mutually beneficial because they have a third they don't have to worry about for 1 year, but they know it's not going to get taken off them or they're going to have dreaded inspections doing you've got weeds, but also they get to have lovely flowers and see them and have some, and I get to grow somewhere else, which is great because like I say, I'm good at spreading myself thin.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, we'll just use somebody's unwanted part of their allotment's fantastic, isn't it?
Exactly, and we all get stages. I think that's the problem with allotments. Like sometimes I think I wish they had more support groups because you often find yourself with like sometimes people who are maybe in a situation where they're retired and they have loads of time on their hands, and maybe somebody who just starts off with that real gumbo enthusiasm, but for whatever reason life does its classic lifey thing. And I sometimes think it'd be great maybe if some more initiatives like this came up where instead of somebody losing their plot or getting to the point where it's overwhelming, there was more support options available for them so they don't lose it but they can have a chaotic year and still keep their allotment.
Yeah, it makes sense.
We had this conversation on our allotment site this week. I had it with my plot neighbour, and we were saying exactly the same thing. But sometimes it's just people just haven't got the time. Like our plots, they're exactly the same. I'm literally waiting for a lawnmower and strimmer so I can actually strim and look and cut mine. It's like, come on, but you can't. And people just don't ask for help either. People are so worried to ask.
I think that is a thing. You end up getting in your head about it. And some people are more, we had such lovely allotments where everybody was lovely, but I can imagine there are more people where you fear that, am I going to get kicked out? Or, is something bad going to happen? But no, I do love allotments though. They're just, I think it's such a great community space, isn't it? It's just, everybody's dead excited. And I love being a rebel growing flowers at allotments, because you get a lot of the old boys, like, don't get me wrong, I love the old boys, but they're like, flowers on an allotment? And, you know, you're like, well, I'm bringing in the pollinators. And they'll be so happy because everybody grows, you know, like a gazillion rhubarbs and a gazillion courgettes. You know, everybody's growing the same things. So they're more than happy to actually trade a beautiful bunch of flowers, which they can't get from every plot, for like, you know, 10 or 20 courgettes that they have on every plot.
It's that.
Catherine just said, would you like to take over part of her garden?
If I can't find a home soon with land, yes. I've got champagne tasting beer budget. We're so at the point. We're on Rightmove going, now where are the acres? And we're like ignoring the prices. Like, no, we'll find somewhere. We'll find some miraculous place in budget. We're going to trade our terrace house in for acres somehow. We will.
I look at the same.
Yeah.
We do exactly the same. So we need a couple of acres for chickens.
Yeah.
So we need a couple of acres for that.
Exactly. Oh dear. Oh, isn't it addictive though, gardening? Isn't it absolutely addictive? In the best way as well. Like, I just love it.
Too addictive sometimes, because some people just sow a whole packet of seeds and then wonder what they can do with the seedlings. Yeah,
I get that. My neighbours are loving me at the moment because I've oversowed everything and they're all going their way because I can't be bothered to take them anywhere. So they're like, they keep on clearing a bed. They've got to the point where they pop their head rounds and they're like, oh, that looks nice on your wall there. Is that going? I'm like, yes, it is. Have it.
Exactly. Yeah. If you didn't know, Gemma, that comment from me was just aimed at Marc.
What comment? Oh, I've missed it.
No, what I just said about sowing a whole packet of seeds.
I see. I'm with it. Sorry, I'm now like scrolling through.
He's now going to show us. Look.
Oh, they look very beautiful. You look like you're a pro.
What were they, Marc?
Snapdragons.
Oh, love it. Lucky lips.
So you sowed a whole packet of about 500, and you've now got 24.
It's definitely not a whole packet because I've still got.
It's too tempting though, isn't it? You get there and you're just like, I'll just do a little, and then you're like, oh, I'll just do the lot.
I know, it's terrible. Just sod it, they'll be all right. But then you sit there. Nobody can throw them away. Nobody can throw a seedling away. I can't.
No.
I've never put a seedling never put a seedling on a compost pot.
No.
My chard is still there. Look.
Honestly, I've become quite ruthless with this. I've got to the point where I start writing down how many I want, and then I literally have to have a bucket, and I'm like, in the compost bin. But I've got better at it.
Oh.
I'm very I'm just there politely kill my babies, goodbye.
I know, that's the thing. It is like throwing your babies on the compost heap.
It is. I'm getting more ruthless.
I'm terrible. That's my dahlia seedlings, and I picked 40 out, and I've still got. I know. I've still got all these as well.
Jesus.
Inundated. You will be having flowers and beans forever.
There's about 500 dahlias.
I've never had any luck growing dahlias from seeds, so I threw the whole lot in there. And every single one is.
That's the thing, isn't it? When you have something you're not successful with, the next year you're like, I'm growing more, and then all of a sudden that's the year it's inevitably successful for every seed.
Yeah, because I'm given the dahlia seeds, whereas this year I was like, right, I'm going to cut all the heads off, I'm going to sow the whole bloody lot, see what happens. This year, it's ridiculous. I mean, I've popped up 40 like that already, and I was like, I'm bored now. If anyone wants dahlias, they can come and help themselves. Ridiculous.
God. You mentioned a few times about a portable cutting garden.
Yeah. So I bought a load of second-hand crates from eBay. Oh, somebody actually asked me what kind of crates they were, and I don't know my differences between crates, but they're bigger than mushroom crates. And you know how you get bail arm crates that you have for shopping? They're kind of like them, but without the bail arm. Anyway, I just mentioned that because, yes, there they are. Do you know
look at them.
Marc?
They're what they delivered plants in when the garden at work was planted. So I've only ever known them as like plant crates.
Okay, well there we go, plant crates. Somebody asked and I was like, I have no idea. I just got secondhand crates, but they're so helpful because I think also people are like, are you sure they're going to grow? But because I work for this perennial nursery, I saw how they propagated stuff, and often, you know, would help propagate stuff. So I'd lift stuff from the garden and it would go into these crates. It would be lined with, you know, an old compost bag or something like that, stabbed for some drainage holes, filled with compost. And I mean, I think plants, they just want to live, don't they? Like, you know, that every plant wants to survive. So I just thought, well, I'm going to adopt it so that way I can still grow, because I'm kind of in this limbo stage of when are we going to move? Where's it going to be? And I don't want to not grow cut flowers just because I don't have a permanent garden. So I thought if I just get these crates, line them with the old compost, stab holes in, and fill them with my plants, particularly my perennials that, you know, have taken years to establish, then I can take it all with me.
Ah, see, when you said portable cutting garden, I envisaged a bicycle with a trailer on the back.
I mean,
so
I
you
would
could drive
love
around.
that. I have got
but what an
I've got a
idea!
sweet part.
Somebody wants a bunch of flowers. You drive to choose your flowers. I will cut them for you, and there you go.
I would love a flower bicycle. I do have a sweet cart actually. That's where when I was selling my flowers, I got this little sweet cart and painted it with little colour wheel stripes, and that's what I sold on the sweet cart. So I could just go around and push that and give people portable flowers that way.
Brilliant.
A bicycle, really, Jamie? That's what Kim said.
Why not? Why not? One of them. What's the ones that you used to have with the basket on the front? The old shop bikes. What are they called?
I don't know, but I love them. I want one. I keep on like trying to put like a basket
You know
on
what I
mine.
mean? The big basket on the front, like they had on Open All Hours years ago.
Yeah.
You're all younger than me. You don't know.
I know exactly what you mean.
Flowers and 4 candles and stuff like that. I love it.
Candles. Butcher's bike, yeah, something like that. Trade bike. That's it.
My grandparents had one for the milk, and it's in the museum in the town I grew up in.
Gosh. Oh,
Brilliant.
Awesome.
Oh my God. So a piece of them will always be, you know, in that town.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
Awesome.
I love
Lovely.
They're well cute.
What did they deliver in it, or was it just
Milk.
their bike?
Milk.
Milk.
Just their
Oh,
milk,
sorry, you did say.
Yeah,
Oh, I love that.
it's lush.
It is. So your kids, and I assume, like, you know, everyone will have seen it or will see it at some point.
Yeah.
Oh,
Brilliant. Brilliant.
My dad wanted to deliver the butcher's meat when he was 14. That's cool.
Exactly. Trade bike. That's what it was. It's brilliant. Yeah, I can remember those.
no, I'd love one. When we get our dream house in the country with our acres and acres, I'll get my flower butcher's bike. You all think I'm joking. I've been dreaming about that. I'm like, Jamie managed to convince me.
You got some kind of bell or something to ring it.
Exactly. Yeah, but of course it'll be adorned with flowers. But yeah, but I could have
Definitely.
easily got, addicted into the veg. I often, look at you guys because obviously you grow more veg than I do, and I'm always like, oh God, I can't wait to do that. But I need to like almost obsessively focus on one thing at a time because otherwise I won't sleep for excitement.
I was going to say, because you had your allotment, that's gone now. You haven't got that anymore, have you?
Well, no, but then I've got this third.
But you're sharing, yeah. But
Exactly.
So no veg at all, nothing.
No, not yet. Like I say, because the people there at the allotment, it's quite handy. Like we've got 36 plots there, or is it 38? It's not the world's biggest allotment, but most of them grow veg and flowers are very few. So it's quite easy to trade with everybody. They're all growing anyway, so it's nice and easy to do a quick swap.
Yeah. So when you do your floristry and you haven't got, do you ever find you haven't got enough flowers that you grow on your own? Where would you get them from? Would you?
I don't buy it.
What I'm trying to say is, would you go get the stuff that's come from Amsterdam and everywhere?
No, I'd never import. So I'm quite passionate about sustainable seasonal flowers. I feel like I would argue it's even more important than veg because ultimately we have to eat. That is one of our basic needs. So, I mean, I would obviously prefer our food to be completely sustainable seasonal too, but I could see the argument that we have to eat, therefore imports are a bit more of a necessity. But with flowers, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're good for our mental health and obviously great for pollination. But in terms of having a bunch of flowers on your kitchen table, it's a luxury. It's not one of your 3 basic needs. It's not shelter, water, food.
No.
So for me, I would argue it's even more important that it's not imported. There's this great book called Gilding the Lily, and it's kind of like a non-biased look on the cut flower industry, but it talks about how, you know, most cut flowers are imported on passenger planes in crates, and then they're sent back on the empty crates on passenger planes too, and it's got such a huge carbon footprint, and then the flowers are dunked often up to their heads in sulfur nitrate. So when you're breathing them in the supermarket, they're filled with chemicals, and quite often the supermarkets, they're lost leaders. So then it's also giving a warped perception of how much value is actually gone into the flowers. And then there's also other things that you just don't think about, like, you know, I think, you know, Amsterdam's really, really good, but there's other places where we're importing flowers where there's a question mark on how the staff are treated. You've got quite often things that you wouldn't even think about, like one woman working alone in a greenhouse in Colombia feeling quite threatened and having experiences that you wouldn't even consider with cut flowers because they're an isolated woman in the country. Often things like, you know, with issues with drug smuggling, and you're thinking, God, all of this for a bunch of flowers on my table. And of course it's wrapped in plastic, just to add some insult to injury. If, you know, it wasn't already, like, how can we take this green thing and make it completely against nature? And so for me, I just think it's balmy. Like, I think obviously it'd be good if food was like this too, but we have to eat. We don't have to have a bunch of flowers on our table. So given that, why don't we celebrate our wonderful seasonal scented, because you often don't get scent, flowers that we have here, and really embrace it? And I think there needs to be more of a conversation between, sorry, I'm proper on my high horse right now, but between florists and flower growers, because I visit a lot of florists and I think they do amazing jobs, but I couldn't tell you if I was walking into the florist from 2024 or if I was walking into a florist of 1987. They look identical, and every florist is almost the same. You walk in, you're asked the same question: how much do you want to spend? You're faced with bunches of flowers that have all been imported, and you ask the question of Mike's saying, Marc, so cute. Sorry, that really.
Sorry, Gemma. Oh dear.
Yeah. Bailey, you asked the question, have you got any British flowers? And they all look at you as if you've asked for, like, sausages and mash, like, you're, you know, what are you asking for? And it's such a funny thing. I mean, I keep on going into my local florist and saying, do you have any British flowers? Because I'd be happy to purchase them, but also, you know, happy to supply them. And sometimes they're not necessarily rude, but they're like, it's February, what are you going to get in February? And it's like, oh, well, I've seen you've got beautiful forsythia, which obviously is out, and I can see you've got beautiful eucalyptus. And it's like, no, it's imported. Obviously, it's always imported. And I feel like there's room for florists to embrace the sustainable movement and maybe move in a different way with the times, make their florists, make it more interactive, make just a little bit of a different experience, but certainly more sustainable. Anyway, there we go, off the high horse.
Well, I've said a couple of times in a few of our lives since Valentine's Day, I bought Teresa, my wife, some Alstroemeria from Alstroemeria Ben.
Love him.
I've never really seen them before, but when they come, they're all in bud and they were amazing. But 4 or 5 days later, I've never seen nothing like it. The best things in the world. They're absolutely amazing.
Perfect. And that's it. And they last them ages in the vase as well, don't they?
Weeks. They were there for at least 2 weeks, still looking just as good.
Which is amazing. That is the one thing I do feel like is hard to compete with in the British, because most flowers last about 5 to 7 days. Obviously, things like your alstroemerias and carnations are an exception, but you know, most people are after how long does it last in the vase. But that's what normally, outside of varieties, specific ones or dry flowers, that's where your things like your chemicals like sulfur nitrate come in. But it's, you know, you don't want, imagine putting that in your compost bin, you don't want it leaching it out, you know, into your bed. So for me, I'm just like, I'd far rather, and it's kind of the beauty of flowers is that you're you're having the privilege to witness a full life cycle. I know that's maybe a bit corny, but there is the beauty in being able to experience the bud, the full flower, the death, and that reminder to be present in the moment and appreciate it in that moment, that this flower putting on, it's nature's jewel, putting on its amazing performance for you, and you get to witness its full life cycle. There's something almost really poetically beautiful. I mean, I'm probably talking, I sound probably a bit up my arse, but
No,
I love
not at
it.
all.
I do. I just think nature's amazing. It provides so much for us, including beauty. I mean, who could ask for more?
Yeah, no, we can tell you're just passionate about it. Don't stress about that. I was listening to a podcast the other day about I can't remember who it was. It might have even been Sarah Raven, possibly, and they were talking about imported flowers. And it's the first time I'd heard about how they've been sprayed with different chemicals to make them last and to keep the colour and God knows what. And I never ever knew about it.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, it's not exactly advertised. But
No.
even like your flower food packets that you get, there's often sometimes chemicals in them, or sometimes even bleach. And I'm thinking, I don't want bleach to go over my dining
Is
table,
that the little sachets?
Yeah, because what it does is it's sometimes it's like a combination of like basically something that will kill the bacteria and something that will feed the flower. So sometimes like a sugary bleach mix. But of course they kind of balance each other out because one's forming bacteria and one's killing bacteria. And really, if you just use fresh, clean water, and you can get a jam jar so cheaply, like you just wash out your mayonnaise once you've finished it twice. And then all you need to do is have one clean jam jar full of water and one clean jam jar filled with flowers. And then the next day, just swap them around, keep life simple and use the old water to water your plants.
Yeah.
And that's just as good. Yeah, flower fluid with dilute bleach and weak sugar, yeah.
Exactly.
And I just don't want that on my dining room table, but that's just me. I like my dining room table. I'd rather splash water than bleach on it.
So sugar, does it make a difference?
Like some food.
I'm supposed to feed it, but I mean, if you've got the bleach there to kill the bacteria, and maybe this. I mean, I'm still very new at it, so but for me, I'd just rather have clean water. So I just don't entertain it much. But you can do things like add a copper penny. And that's supposed to help. I don't rule out old wives' tricks. I give them all a test. Yeah, trim stems do help a lot because obviously if you trim your stems on that's a bad stem. There we go. If you trim your stem on an angle, and then it goes to the bottom of the vase, it's not going to be able to seal against the bottom of the vase. Therefore, it'll still be able to get water. So that's why they say cut your stems on an angle. Whereas if you cut it flat, it's going to be straight against that vase bottom or jam jar, whatever you're using, and the water can't get up. So that's what stops the.
I never knew that. I knew about cutting them to the angle, but I didn't realise why. But you just do it.
No, I was the same.
You hear it, so you do it. I never knew why, but yeah, makes sense. So it doesn't sit and suck on the bottom of the glass.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. Joe's just said why the penny works. Penny works for tulips as they like copper to retain upright stems. I love this about Instagram. I'm always learning.
Yeah, it's good,
I just
isn't it?
heard it. I was like, I don't know why, but I'm going to try it.
Oh, so I was just about to say about what is it? Just cut it once as you put them in the vase, or is it all the time? But Kim said, yeah, maybe cut them every other day.
Yeah, but it does depend because like something like daffodils can leach out their sap. You've probably noticed that gooey sap, which can kill other things. So it depends. I'd say basically everything except for daffodils is pretty good to recut because it's you're giving it a fresh chance to intake the water. But like I say, I'm new at learning about this, but boy have I got the bug.
It definitely sounds like it, yeah. Definitely does.
Wait till I get onto veg. I want to do foraging next. Don't trim euphorbia. Oh my gosh, yeah, euphorbia. Oh my god, the sap just gives me a rash. I hate euphorbia.
Yeah.
Absolutely hate it. I once, not to be too crude, but I wore very thick gloves, cut the euphorbia, went thoroughly washed my hands, and was having a little bit of a ladies' moment. Let's just say that. Went to the bathroom, sorted my ladies' moment out, and I was walking like a crab for the rest of the day. I hate euphorbia. I was like, oh! It's horrible.
The chef's chili.
Exactly, yeah. Never chop a chili, then go for a wee.
No, never chop euphorbia, never chop a chili. Oh gosh, yeah.
Wow.
So I've been put off a little bit since. And also I got some in my eye ages ago, but that was again after I'd had a shower. Oh, Gemma, yes, it hurt. It hurt like heck.
Oh dear.
Oh well, we live to survive.
Tell us about the big. Is it still called a wreath if it's that big in the background? I saw you make that on one of
Yeah,
your lives. I'm
it's
sure I
my
did.
mega wreath or my
Yeah.
halo. So this was so this year, like I say, I've been challenging myself to make a floral creation every single week using ingredients fully grown or foraged, nothing flown. And like I say, I don't have a background in floristry. I mean, I've watched YouTube videos and I've done a couple of online courses, so like I keep on learning, but I'm just slowly building that knowledge up. So for day 1 of January, this was the beastie I made. And so I'm not fully happy with it. You know, when you like stare at something for ages, you're like, oh, there's a gap there, there's a gap there. But overall, you know, I'm pleased. So I filled it with grasses. So it's got pampas grass, it's got breezer, it's got calamagrostis, it's got some, oh my God, bracken from the woods, miscanthus. It's just filled with grasses. But honestly, this is what I mean when I say I'm new at this. This took me 6 hours to make it, genuinely. Like, that has thousands of stems in it. I mean, the breezer is absolutely tiny. So stripping that foliage, harvesting it, stripping it, putting it together in bunches just took so long. But I get to keep this one forever, so I don't mind it, which is why I think I'm probably going to eventually, when I get more land, not yet, I'm limited in my thin terrace garden, but I want to grow more dried flowers because I like the idea if you've put, particularly with wreaths or flower crowns, anything that's, you know, out of water, I love the idea of it lasting forever. So that's something I want to get into, but that's just my foot in the door. But I'm really pleased with it, and because we've got this kind of goldy wallpaper in here, it works, but everywhere else in the house it doesn't. So
It is
So
stunning.
they're all classed as dry. You call them dried flowers, then, so they will last forever.
I mean, these are all grasses because it's a whole one. But yeah, I mean, in theory, I mean, like you obviously get people like you'll see helichrysums and they might look a little faded after, you know, so many years, but really they last forever. But yeah, I just adore it. But again, like the obsession, I've allowed myself to go for the fresh cut flower obsession first, then branching off. Because I think cut flowers almost branches into so many things. You could do herbs, you could do workshops, you could do, you know, dried flowers. You could then take it into flower crowns, wreaths, wedding flowers, event flowers. There's so many things you could branch this out into that I'm just like, one thing at a time. Yeah, I have to make myself focus because otherwise, like I say, Jack will literally be like, get a life. I'm up at 3 in the morning and I'm reading a book. I'm like, did you know this? And he's like, no, I didn't. I do not care.
What do you do in your everyday life now, then? Your normal.
So I work now for Higgledy Garden, the cut flower seed company. So I'm the weirdo cutting fresh ranunculus and hanging them to dry. Oh yes, Joe, I want to dry ranunculus soon. But so I worked for Bluebell Cottage Gardens, like I said, for I worked there for about 2 or 3 years. I lose track because I am one of those people I've worked since I was 11 and obviously alongside school. And that's
the one who let you have the bit of land out the front.
Yes, she is. Yeah, that's true. So she actually won BBC Gardener of the Year. You know, she's on the RHS committee. Like she's real, and I can't believe she took me on, who has very limited knowledge, and mentored me. It was such a privilege, and because she grows so many lovely, unusual things that I hadn't come across. You know, varieties of epimedium and phyllictrums and brunneras and all beautiful stuff that I was like, oh, I've not come across this. It was really such a privilege. And but that's where I also met Ben. So he was using the land before me to grow cut flowers. So he has this cut flower business. He lives on a narrowboat. He's a lovely chap. And I started working for him alongside. And then the opportunity to work full time for Ben, not you, Ben, Higgledy Garden Ben, came up. And it just kind of made a bit more sense for me. So I obviously had a great connection to Sue. I've even just been there today and, love it there, but it just worked out a bit better financially and situationally for me to work full time when the offer came up. So that's what I did.
So that's a nursery, is it?
What, Bluebell Cottage Gardens or Higgledy Garden?
Where you are now, Higgledy Garden.
No, so Higgledy Garden is a cut flower seed company. He lives on a narrowboat. Right. And so he grows some of the seeds himself. He goes to farms and purchases seeds in. And basically I then, package the seeds up, order in the seeds, send them out to the customers. And
Oh.
so I kind of like semi-manage it. There's myself and lovely Higgledy Garden who works on a Monday, and then I work the rest of the days of the week, and it just works out really nice. And he's such a great, I love what he does. I love his ethos, and yeah, I think it's really great to have worked for two amazing garden bosses who also act as mentors. You know, they both give advice, and I just feel like I've won the horticultural lottery to go from not knowing anything to have. I love this about horticulture, when people are really pay it forward with their knowledge. But that's the two people I've landed on meeting, and I'm very, you know, I say landed, I hounded them. But they gave it me, so that's good.
It was easier to say yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that offer of land didn't just come out of the blue. It might have come after I'd asked you if all the acres and acres she was using, was there any bit spare going, after quite a few times. She was like, yes, there is. I was like, yay. But you don't ask, you don't get.
Definitely not. No way. No way. You just said about Ben lives on a narrowboat, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Which I've always wanted to live on a narrowboat in my 20s.
Not that Ben.
No. No, but he's cool. No, but he's a lovely chap, and he lives with his dog Flash, and he's just and obviously people are interested because it is an alternative lifestyle. It was quite funny though when I was working at Bluebell Cottage Gardens using the land that Ben used to use, because I'd say, oh, I work for this guy. Sorry, I have a timer on Instagram that says, you've been on Instagram for over an hour, do you want to turn it off? I'm like, no. I have to restrict myself, because you can end up scrolling, can't you?
Oh, definitely.
Anyway, he's a really nice guy, but when I used to work at Bluebell Cottage Gardens and I explained about the land that I was using, that used to be used by Ben, and how he's a guy who lives on a narrowboat with a cut flower seed company, almost always the women would go, oh, is he single? I was like, what have I said? But no, he's great. And yeah, I love that I've had these mentors, and I'm trying to share what I learn as I go. So I'm doing these kind of like Sunday night lives at the moment, where whatever I have learned, I'm sharing it as I go, because I found the information not the hardest to find, but like anything, once you know the information, you're like, oh, is that it? I could have learned that ages ago. If I'd had someone straight away say, are you growing cut flowers, focus on focal flowers, foliage and filler, I could have gone, oh yeah, that makes sense, straight away. I could have been like, oh yeah, but it takes a little while. I mean, I did learn that information, but it just takes a slow while to learn stuff, so I'm sharing as much as I can.
Yeah. And you're doing well, really well.
Thank you, I'm enjoying it.
Your Sunday night lives are really good.
Oh, thank you. It's nice. It's nice to. I just love everybody on Instagram. Like I was so scared of joining social media. It was Ben who got me into it. I was absolutely a technophobe. Do not want to join social media. Don't get it at all. Don't know why anyone would. That was like my approach. And then Ben was like, look, if you're doing anything in this industry, you're going to want to, or any industry, you're going to want to be on social media. And I was like, in my mind, it was going to be filled with Piers Morgan type people's, you know, ranting over one another and being really mean. And I was like, oh, everyone's lovely. Everyone is a human. And it's such a nice place. And, you know, now like I say, I have to set timers so I don't stay on it too long, because I'm like, everyone's so nice. Like, okay, stay chatting.
Oh, no. It's so dangerous, isn't it? You just sit there and just get lost.
Yeah, addictive. And people do amazing things, and then you get inspired, and then I'm like, no, cut flowers only, Gemma, blinker. And they're looking at all your lovely beds going, no, not yet. Foraging is the thing that's getting me at the moment. Do any of you forage?
A little bit.
I would like to. I would love to. I went on a foraging course. I went down to what's Hugh Fernie? I went there. I can't remember what it's called. Hugh Fernie Whittlestall's place down
River Cottage.
South. River Cottage. Went down there and went and done a foraging course with John a few years back. That was amazing. That was really, really good. But I've never done much here. But I've been looking for wild garlic for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and I can't find any around here. None.
Oh gosh, there's loads where we are.
Can't find any.
Oh gosh.
But a lot of our woodlands and things are all pine, and I'm guessing that must be something to do with it. If it's just because the pine is all acidic, isn't it? I suppose when the needles are dropping, and the garlic won't grow there. Yeah.
So we won't get the light.
grows near water as well, doesn't it?
Likes it wet.
Yeah.
I can't find any.
Oh, come to Cheshire. We've got loads. I've got a lovely friend. She actually came to the Garden Grand Ball, Ginny of Greener Roots, and I tell you what, she's somebody to watch. She is one of the. She doesn't shout loud on Instagram, but she's incredible. I'm just going to use this moment to toot her trumpet. She's been on Homes Under the Hammer. She's renovated her own home with a partner. She knows everything you need to know about foraging. She also works at Bluebell Cottage Gardens, and I'm like, damn. Like, so anyway, I was like, please teach me about foraging was the bottom line, and we went and pickled some wild garlic last week, which was lovely.
Oh,
but
wow.
yeah, no, I do. I'm obsessed. Well, I'm not obsessed yet. I'm not allowing myself to be obsessed, but I know I will be one day.
Yeah, I'm gutted I can't find any.
Oh, we'll send you some. We'll post you some.
Yeah.
Just
Anyone in the
stinky thing.
Norfolk area?
Yes.
Gave me a location.
Give me some. Give me some. To be honest, Kim sent me some. She gave me a little pot, a little 4-inch pot with about 3 sprigs in, but it's died.
Oh, no, that's sad. Maybe you can
Sorry,
plant
Kim.
some in the garden in a shady area or something.
I will have to. Yeah, I'll have to see if I can get some. Mark's been dashing it out everywhere, apart from here.
I'll bring you some.
Exactly.
An order for John wanting some as well.
I want it.
Nice. What does your partner think of gardening, Gemma?
Oh, do you know what? It's a joy because he wasn't really into it, and now he's at the point where he'll be like, "Oh, that's a eupatorium," and I'm like, "Yeah, it is." I'm like, "Gold star for you." No, he's so nice. Like, because Jack works as a programmer, so he's stuck inside all the time. I mean, I know I work from home now, and he's forever looking out the window. And now he always says, "Oh, I like what you've done here. I like what you've done there." And I think he's getting his own gardening bug right at the beginning journeys of it. But I am feeling the pressure. He's like, "Oh, when we move home, I just want it to be magic. I want the garden to be magic." And I'm like, "Oh God, okay." I'm like, "Well, just be happy if it's productive and we have something like it." You know, I don't know what we'll have, but I think he's got ideas of, like, you know, again, champagne taste beer budget. And he's like, "Oh, I like the Moongate idea you have." And I'm like, "But that's not going to happen on day one." You know, and we can have a fountain. And I'm like, or, you know, we could have a little pond from a Belfast, you know, that I find on eBay.
Yeah, lovely.
But no, it's nice. What about you guys? Are your partners into gardening?
Nope.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
massively.
Oh, I love that.
No, nothing.
She does all the flower side, and I do most of the veg.
Oh, perfect. So that's a winner. See, you're already on the trade, flowers for veg. Yeah. I love giving Jack flowers as well, because, like, this is something that I think, I mean, maybe not all men, but, like, I read a couple of times that, and it's a bit sad, but it's sad, I think, that I believe it. I don't know whether it's a fact, but that most men receive their first bunch of flowers at their funeral. And I was like, "Oh, ouch." So I'm now in the habit, whether it's Father's Day or birthdays, of giving men flowers, because, as well as other things, because I do think it's a funny thing that men aren't, not all men, but a lot of men in my world aren't used to receiving flowers. And it's funny, like, I've been giving them, like, even, like, you know, Jack's cousin, he's a lovely guy, but he's like, "You're giving me flowers?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm giving you flowers." Like, you know, I'm changing the narrative. You have flowers. You enjoy them too. Why do we have to have all the beautiful things? You enjoy them too.
Definitely.
Especially if they smell nice. That's the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah.
This last couple of years, when I'm starting to get into flowers, the fragrance of flowers is a massive thing. Absolutely massive. Yeah. A week ago, when I was walking through my back garden with all my bulbs are out, and the hyacinths, oh my God, it's just unbelievable. The best thing in the world. I love it.
Yeah, and it's amazing how many flowers don't have scent. My grand's blind, so I'm forever on the sniff, as it were, you know, rather than look out, because it's amazing what you think has scent, you know, when you're like, because a lot of people say with blind people that their scents are heightened, and whilst I think that's semi-true, I still think, like, it's maybe not in tune enough to pick up on a sprig of rosemary that's been bruised. I think you do often still need something knockout. So, like, I'll put mint in, and it's nice, but it's not enough for my grand. She needs a sweet pea, she needs a hyacinth, she needs a sarcophaga, and it's nice to hunt around for that stuff. But it is funny how much doesn't smell. You know, you get beautiful dahlias and you stick your nose in and it's like, oh, nothing
at all.
Yeah, but I love
Sweet peas. You just said sweet peas. I can remember walking down my squash arch, and I've had last year sweet peas over it. Oh, it's just amazing. The best smell in the
Oh my
world.
gosh. Squashes and sweet peas, what a combo. Oh my god. That sounds heavenly. Oh, see, this is what I mean. I can't even, without my head going, oh my gosh, I wonder how many varieties of squashes there are. I wonder how you grow them. I want to learn it.
Thousands.
Gosh, it is. I swear. I mean, I think my friend did psychology, and she phoned me up when she studied addictive personalities, and she was like, "Gemma, you've got an addictive personality," and I was like, "What?" But I was like, I feel like gardening's quite good because you can never run out of stuff to be addicted about. I mean, like you're done with flowers, learning about it. Not that you can never be done. Herbs, you're done with herbs. Alpines, you're done with that. You know, veg, you're done with that. Foraging,
Yeah.
endless.
Yeah, you can't get bored. You really can't. It's something new every day, I think. Especially this time of year, you go out and back in the garden 2 days later, and there's something else.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, what are you growing there?
Godetia.
Oh, I love Godetia. Godetia is one of my favourite flowers.
Godetia Crown.
Yeah. Oh, is that Higgledy? Is that Higgledy Godetia? There you go, Ben. I did my promotion if you're watching.
To be honest, I don't even know what a Godetia looks like. Tell us.
Oh my gosh. I think it's such an underrated flower. So Godetia Crown is a bright pink flower, which it's amazing to even direct sown at the end of October. So where I was growing was filled with couch grass, dark creeping buttercup, you know, lots of perennial stuff. And I just did a very quick no-did bed, like the world's shoved on cardboard, shoved on the thinnest layer of compost, and I direct sowed a ton of seeds, and Godetia was one of the most successful. But the reason I love it so much, so not only was it great at direct sowing, it comes up with these bright pink beautiful flowers, but then, and it's cut and come again, so as long as you cut above 2 little buds, it will produce side shoots to constantly keep coming. But then you get red seed pods later on, which are amazing, because if you're after rose hips, of course, they're very thorny and you don't get that many. Whereas, so you've had these beautiful flowers, then they're followed by these beautiful red hips that almost, red seed pods that replace, rose hips without the thorns, beautifully straight stems, really nice and easy. And then, as if that wasn't enough, they go brown and they splay into these really cool seed heads. And I'm like, I don't know many things that you can get 3 full seasons of interest, and you think that's like, what, £2? And that's like, you can get so many seeds. I think, seedlings and plants, I think it's a top-notch cut flower plant that's underrated. There you go, Godetia Crown. Everybody should grow it.
Brilliant. And Marc looks like he's got about 500 there, so I'm sure he can dish a few of them out.
They're all
so we're up to wild garlic, Godetias. What else can you send over, Marc?
Some status.
Yep. I'll never say no.
He still wants some rhubarb, Marc. Have you got any?
I've got a rhubarb crown now. Thank you very much.
Got one now. That's all right then. Right, Gemma, I promised
to
take him some in December, and I forgot.
Oh, you did, yeah.
Once you've got rhubarb, you've got it for life, haven't you?
That's it. It's in there now. It's in there. It was in a carrier bag for 3 weeks, but now I have planted it.
I mean, you can't kill it. I mean, this is the thing. My perennials have been sat in their crates. Some of them have been waiting to be planted for about 3 months, and they're still thriving. I'm like, good on you. I will get round to you, but good on you for surviving my neglect.
What perennials are they? What have you sown?
Oh gosh, well these are ones that I've lifted from the plot. So sort of fantastic one, Eupatorium. I recently discovered it dries really well. It's not really in many of the books as a dryer, but it dries amazingly well. Lots of geums, a few peonies, things that I've split, sanguisorbas, persicariums, Centaurea montana, lots of stuff. Insert long list there.
Wow. It doesn't sound like you haven't had any formal training. Definitely, you can reel them all off.
Well, I get confused though, when it's like because they all begin with the same letters. I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, is it echinacea or echinops or like, or I'll like, is it Aringinum and echinops? And I always get confused, and then I have to have like rhymes. I get really muddled. I'll stare at something that's dead obvious and say the wrong name because it begins with a letter, and then later on be like, no, it's that. But like, I have to remember echinops is like because it's got a round shape, so it's echinops. So then I know it's the one that's round, it's the round thistle, and that's how I remember things. But if there isn't like some way of me remembering it, it's like, you know, when hydrangeas, how if they're in certain compost, if they can change to pink or blue, I have to remember it's alkaline compost that makes it pink, because they've both got the K in it. Otherwise I won't remember which one it is. So if I don't come up with some kind of way to memorize it, it'll just be boop, boop.
That's a
cool way to remember, though.
Have you got any more of those you can dish out? Come on.
That's it. Those are the only ones.
But that's enough. I will always know now, if you want a pink hydrangea, get alkaline in it.
Yeah, I have to remember the K. I hate it when there's no rhyme or reason to something. I'm like, I can't remember this. There's nothing I can attach a pattern to. If I can attach a pattern, I'll remember it. Or a rhyme.
I can't remember any, to be honest. I have to get on my hands and knees around the garden and look at the label. I'm alright with Magians and Salvias. That's about it. Anything else, I have to get down and have a look.
Yeah, I'm always surprised when things come up. I'm like, oh, I forgot I grew you. Nice. I should probably label that.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
But if I walk around my allotment, I can go, that's that, and that. So,
isn't it funny? You know your own. There's a few questions in the question box. Where do you find these question boxes, by the way? On my lives, I'm like, well, to be fair, I've never really asked, but not that I think anybody asks big questions. But where do you find them?
Mark, read the questions out. I didn't even know there was any in there.
so if you could grow one veg for their flowers, what would it be?
Ooh, broad beans, or general beans. It makes great foliage. I remember at the allotment I nicked loads of beans for foliage. Very happy.
Every bean flower you take away, though, you're getting rid of a pod of beans.
But flowers. Horses for courses. How many beans does one person need?
Another one from Joe. What is Gemma's favourite filler? Focal foliage.
Polly.
My favourite focal foliage and filler.
If you could only have
Give me a second. Foliage, I'd probably say if you've got the patience to wait for it to get big enough, Baptisia. I think it's amazing. And it's really drought tolerant. So you get beautiful flowers as well as beautiful foliage. Oh, am I only allowed one per one? That's very difficult. Filler, I think I'd probably say phloxes, any of the annual phloxes or the perennial phloxes. Love, love, love. But this is today. Ask me tomorrow and it'll change. And focal flowers, I still actually think I'm going to go with Godetia just because I think it's so amazing. But, you know, there's so many. I am actually, no, I changed that back. Chinese asters. So I think they're my current today top favourite focal filler and foliage. Ask me again tomorrow. It'll be different, I promise.
Is there any more? Who's that?
Which is your most controversial gardening opinion?
Ooh.
Oh, I don't know if I have any. I bet I do when I go away. I do. I think I expect to see that bouquet later in the year. Okay. I haven't got any Baptisia left. It's all at Sue's, but I'll have to get some more. I'm gonna say I think purple and orange is overrated. I like it together, but I think everybody does it. I kind of feel like it's become a bandwagon colour scheme. That's my controversial opinion. And I love colour and I do love it, but I'm like been there, seen it, bored of it now. That's just me.
Almost past done on that now.
Yeah, well, I think it's maybe also because I like pink and orange together and I feel like I don't see that. And I just feel like, or blue and orange, and I feel like purple and orange is just, it feels like, I don't know whether to say this, but sometimes it feels like we all get inspired by people, but sometimes it feels like sometimes it's a cut and copy garden design. And I love seeing people do their own colour schemes or their own combinations more than seeing the same thing on repeat. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I just get more excited when it's something that you haven't seen before. You're like, oh, I love that, you know.
Yeah.
I say that, and I've done a purple and orange bouquet not that long ago, so you know I'm just as much of a hypocrite saying it. That's because I had no pink left, so otherwise it would have been pink and orange.
I don't even do colour schemes.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I don't. I never even think about what colour is going in. I put if there's a gap. Same as you, Ben. I think we've said it loads of times before. If there's a gap, fill it up with something.
Well, me and Kim were talking about it the other day, and we're like, they're saying, what colour scheme are you going for the garden as well? And I went, what do you mean colour scheme, Kim? You think I'd plan that? If it looks right, it's going in.
Flower.
I think
Exactly.
that's I mean, I love every colour, don't get me wrong, I really do. I think it's just because I see purple and orange come up a lot, and when I visit gardens, I see purple and orange come up a lot, and I think it's really nice, but it just does feel over-egged for me right now. That's just me. That's my. But I imagine that's controversial. Please, you know, don't hate me for that comment.
No, never you will. No, definitely not. We're having a. Go on. Then.
If you could start your plot/garden again from scratch, what would you change?
Very simple. I wouldn't grow every single colour straight away. Because don't do that. And I would
just
focus
grow
on
purple and orange.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think colour schemes is a good thing, and if purple and orange is your favourite, go for that. I would focus on shape. So you could just say focal filler foliage, but what I'd probably do would be, if I was to start my plot again and focusing on productivity, I would probably think of it in rows and think of my voluptuous focal flowers in one row. Then I'd probably think of my fillers being I'd probably have 2 rows for focal flowers, and then I'd have a row for lacy filler flowers, a row for spikes, and then a row, at least 1 row, if not 2 rows for foliage, and then possibly a row for texture or something different or scent. I would try and focus on the shapes. And then if you think of it as a grid, I would then, so that's my shapes along the horizontal, vertical. Along the horizontal, I would think about months. So it would be like this month, this month, this month, this month. So shapes, month.
Wow.
That's what, if I was to go back, that's what I'd do, because then you're almost... And then, sorry to make it more confusing, but a rough colour scheme per thing, so that you know you can just go and pick, and you've got a nice mix of ingredients that are all going to work together, and you've covered yourself for the year. That's what I'd do differently. That's what I wish I could go back in time and tell myself. But, you know, you don't do it without learning.
So we all know we could fill the spring and summer months, and maybe into the autumn. But what would you put in the months, the winter and beginning of spring?
Grow more dried flowers to cover me for winter. That's what I try and do. I try and keep a section for dried. But I've just seen Joe actually said, sorry, the question was for you boys, so apologies, I hijacked.
Don't go asking us such stupid questions, Joe.
What was that?
We don't have answers to them.
What, the one about what would you do if you could start your plot again?
Oh, was that for us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Veg garden near the house.
Had better drainage.
Yeah. No, at the end of the bottom of the question, it said you're not allowed to change the drainage. That was
near the house.
I wouldn't change mine at all. I wouldn't dare change my new allotment, because I think I would get stabbed by a certain person who designed it.
I'm changing everything.
I love my plot now, so mine's fine. Love it.
I'm changing everything. I'm doing mine completely different to the first one. So not doing raised beds and things like that as much. I've got some on there, but I'm going all no dig beds with like grass paths and everything, no wood chip paths and everything. So I'm going completely opposite on the new plot.
So your beds are just going to be the mounded type ones without the sides.
No. I've obviously got my guarantee beds at the top. They're staying because of where they are and everything. It works. But my main beds are all going to be no dig, all with grass paths, edged, everything properly. I'm going to actually work this plot a lot better.
Charles Dowding style.
Yep.
Sounds good, Charles.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now I can make the compost I need. I can do it. So that's the thing.
there's a nice thing though when you do something once and you think about how you do it. Like I almost am always drawn to the opposite. Like now I've said that grid thing, I bet you the next garden I go to will be willy-nilly. Like I just bet it will, because it's like now I've said it out loud, I'm like, but that's far too organised and structured. Do you know what I mean? Although I did appreciate, thank you, Joe, for saying you liked my answer, because I felt very guilty. I was like, oh no, I just hijacked their question. I was like,
no, don't be daft. Don't be daft. Let's talk quickly about the Garden Grand Ball.
Wasn't that a joy?
Fantastic.
Well done. Well done, everyone.
And there's two people on my screen who won an award. We don't want to talk about one of them. Let's talk about your one.
I thought we were going to talk about Marc's. I was like,
We don't want to talk about Marc's award. We'll talk about yours.
I was very thrilled. Honestly, I've still got photos and I need to post this on Instagram. I was so happy. That was, I mean, first of all, well done, Jamie. And I mean, I know it was loads of people went into it, but I know it was your idea, and it was such an amazing event and such a good cause. And it was so, I've never met anybody in Instagram outside of Instagram, you know, and that was such a nice moment to see everybody. And yeah, it was a real nice thing. So I won the Dance Diva Award, presented by Chris of Groovy Gardening, and I was very, very happy and thrilled, and had to do a slut drop to, you know, make it. It wasn't really a slut drop; it was just a drop general, because I was
you just took my next question away from me.
I told you won't have a problem getting me talking. It'll be a problem if you just stop talking. That's the issue.
So Gemma, tell us about the slut drop.
Well, it was a Dance Diva Award, and I felt like I couldn't just go up and walk and go, thank you very much. It would be like, you've been announced you're a Dance Diva. I couldn't like formally let me handshake and walk away. I was like, well, I feel like I've got to live up to it now, so I just did a little drop, and it was nice. So yeah, definitely a slug drop. I'm hoping that's a typo. I'm gonna assume that was a typo there. Yes, whatever you want to call it, slug slut did it. Either one isn't really the best. No, I'm taking these titles back. Let's not give me either one of those titles.
My comments have stopped working, so I can't even see who said that.
Oh, bless. I think it was Joe who just put oops.
Well, when you did it, the room erupted, and it was fantastic. It was really good.
Well, it was such a great night. Thank you so much for hosting, and so much money raised for such a worthy cause. It was
a great night. It was really good. It was really good.
Really amazing night.
I don't want that. I mentioned it for your award, not because of that.
Well, too late. We have to put it on. Although I will confess now that I apologies, because obviously I'd never met anyone before, and I was like memorising people's names, and I went up to James straight away, and I was like, "Are you Marc?" And he was like, "No, I'm not."
Brilliant.
And I stood there, open mouthed, and went, "What?"
See, I'd have gone wrong with it.
I should have. Yeah. I just, not as quick as you, Ben. I should have just kept going. Yeah. Yeah, I've had a bit of a shave and took my glasses off.
I was thinking, I was like, I need to have a beer, but maybe I've got mistaken. Maybe it's the other way around.
Just a bit of a different colour and not quite as long.
But I was just going in there, I was like, memorise names, and I was like, went in really confident. I was like, Marc. I was like, never mind. Sorry. Oh dear. Oh my gosh, it was nice to meet you too. It was nice to meet everyone. Everyone was so joyful. Honestly, my biggest regret of that night was not speaking to more people, but you just can't, you know, there were so many people. It was such an amazing event.
So much going on.
Yeah, you couldn't get around the room. There was too many people. It was amazing.
No. It was good, but like several different things that I've been to now, and you meet all the Instagrammers, it blows my mind every time. You just think, oh my God, it's just a different reality. It's strange, really weird.
It is, but it's so nice to see the people behind the screens, like, you know, and everybody's got such, I mean, I suppose if you're putting on a garden event for people who are putting themselves out there on Instagram, you're literally asking people who are out there and into gardening to come together. So it was literally like, oh, people, you know, it was like a crazy moment of finding our tribe. It was like, yes.
That's the thing. You knew you could talk to anybody and they'd be on the same wavelength.
Yeah, and we all had this thing in common. If anything else failed, it was just like, plants. Anybody else plants?
Well,
You know, you'd be covered.
seeds.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Oh, dear.
Absolutely
No,
brilliant.
it was a joy. Everyone was joyful, and everyone was so glamorous. I was like, yes, love it.
Including you.
Oh, yeah, well, yes, no, a given, of course.
You're glamorous in the garden on a normal day, any day, so it doesn't
You know
make a
what?
difference.
Everyone says this. I'm going to tell you, I'm not glamorous. I'm lazy. Because dresses, like, although this keeps riding up, it's driving me crackers, but dresses are the easiest thing because you don't have to think about putting a top and a trousers and a belt and some shoes on. You can literally just rock out of bed, shove it on, and everyone goes, oh, you've made such an effort. And in reality, you know, you might not even be wearing knickers, I do, but, you know, you could just walk out and you're just like, I've just been the laziest person ever. I've just shoved something on. Everyone goes, oh, aren't you looking lovely? And it's like, no, I'm just lazy. And they're cheap as well. You go to the charity shop, you get them for £5 second hand, and your whole outfit is £5. And people think you put more effort in when it's less money, less effort. So I'm a big advocate of dresses. I think you all should get some.
You did send me a voice message earlier saying, is this going to be video as well as audio? Because I might have to put a brush through my hair.
Yes, I did. And I did brush my hair. Do you know what? I've got in the habit of brushing my hair because I did one of the Sunday night lives once and I just literally didn't have time. So I did this with my hair and then I turned around and it was literally like this. And I was like, to my partner, I was like, if you ever let me go on live without brushing my hair again. And now I'm always like, brush your hair before you go. Because like if you do gardening even for 10 seconds, you know, I'm right in there and it'll be like, you know, you come out literally of a bush and you're like, oh God.
Do you remember what that was like, Jamie, or not?
I do, yeah. It's a few years ago now, Ben, yeah.
You might get a few twigs in your beard.
Exactly.
That's always my hair, always. My wife's like, what? How is that still in there? You haven't been in the garden since Friday.
Look, even Catherine's having a dig now. Thanks, Catherine.
Oh.
Brilliant.
Oh,
dear. Well, Gemma, it's been an absolute blast.
Oh, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for having me.
No,
I hope I didn't talk too much. I do talk a
don't
lot.
be silly.
No.
Talk as much as you like. It makes our life a lot easier.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. I hope you have a lovely evening, and I'm going to stuff the X. But bye. Thank you again.
Thanks, Gemma. Bye.
Ta for now.
Bye for now.
Yes, Catherine, the comments have started working again.
They only ever work when we take the piss out of him.
Can I just say
They did.
Look,
I can't.
Still light.
not actually dark.
No, in Lincoln, it's still fairly light, yeah.
It's not too bad here, I suppose.
No, it's all right.
That's the light there, actually. That's why. That might be it. Hang on. Let's have a look outside.
This is Norfolk.
I can't see anything, but I'll have a look on the catch-up.
It's pitch black.
Bristol
I
is all right.
can't find the light switch. There it is.
I could have got away
I'm
with
indoors. I've got to start making an effort now and getting outside every week, I think, from now. Now we've proved.
We could see if people are up for doing a garden tour before a chat.
Yeah, definitely. Have a bit of a garden tour and then stuff like that.
It's proper light when we start now, so people might be up a quick whip round.
Have a wander around first. And
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Leanne's still on here. She's on next week.
Who?
Yeah, Leanne.
Get your garden.
Oh,
Yeah. Get your garden through the garden gate worthy.
yeah. I can't wait to speak to Leanne next week. It'll be good.
Yeah, it will be really good. They're all good. Gemma was
Well,
fantastic.
no, I said they're not.
She's so
Love
Gemma.
Gemma.
Out there, isn't she? It's brilliant.
She
I
reminds me
love Gemma.
in the sense that she got so lucky with her starting garden, being like such a great mentor, whereas Gemma, Nicola started at high roof. You probably can't beat that.
No, she did fall on her feet, didn't she?
Definitely.
Really good. Yeah, she's learning her stuff. Definitely is. Cool. For someone who went and had any formal horticulture training, she knows her stuff.
It just shows that passion is more important than knowledge.
God, yeah.
Passion to learn, it will trump any knowledge.
Of course it is, yeah. Because it'll go in, won't it?
Yeah, it goes in and you're up for learning and getting in. So many people that are that passionate seem to do so well.
Yeah.
Hey, Jamie, I just seen something.
What you got?
Literally, we bought these the other day from the nursery because they were 50p because they're on the sale bench for all these radishes. Just look, that's probably the best one I've grown so far. I just seen it there as I was looking at the screen. And I was like, oh, what's that bit of red coming up through there?
Oh, you've done that. Kerry's not even watching, for God's sake. Oh,
that's all right. I'll send her a picture there. I just seen it there, and as I'm looking at the screen, I sort of looked to myself. I was like, oh, what's that bit of red? And I was like, that's a sucker for buying these veg strips and they're off for 50p.
It has to, yeah. Why not? Bloody hell.
So that's celery for 50p?
Exactly. Look at that. You can't not, can you? Yeah, Kim just said that's spot on, Mark. It is, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good.
Right,
gents, I've got about 3% of my phone. It's going to die any second.
Don't want that.
No. I better go back in. Go and listen to these church bells for a bit.
I haven't heard them.
I had the door wedged shut today. They are out there.
Oh, there
they are. I don't know why I'm doing that on my phone. My microphone's up here. Moving my phone and the microphone's bloody up above me.
God.
And now they've stopped. Good. Right. On that note, guys,
gentlemen.
Go.
Lovely chat. Nice to see you both and everybody else. Thanks ever so much.
Thank you, everybody, for getting involved. Wonderful.
Laters. Have a lovely week.
I'll speak to you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Through the Garden Gate.